Hello again, seventh graders. Mr. Farley here. We're working on Chapter 1, Section 2 today. This is our second mini lecture, second screencast, and this is going to be on lands and climates of the United States. Lands and climates. Notice that the word land and the word climate are both plural. We have many different lands in the United States, and we have many different climates, and that's going to be a main point of this mini lecture on lands and climates. Let's look at our vocab terms first. We've got 3 that appear on the worksheet. There are 8 terms altogether for this section that you'll need to be familiar with for your quizzes. The rest of the vocab terms can be found on the Quizlet deck, Chapter 1, Section 2 Quizlet, and also that Quizlet deck will be posted on your class feed along with today's screencast. Let's look at the vocab terms. First word is tributary. Tributary, which is a stream or smaller river that flows into a larger one. We'll talk about some in class. We'll talk about in class some tributaries that surround the Hoosick Falls area. Second word is precipitation. Precipitation is water that falls in the form of rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Precipitation. And the third word on our worksheet today is altitude, which is the height of land above sea level. Again, 8 terms total, 3 will appear in this reading. The rest of your vocab for Chapter 1, Section 2 can be found on your Quizlet deck, which will be linked to your class page at the end of the day today. Okay, let's talk about some of these different types of regions. Here we have a pretty cool map that appears in your textbook, and it's titled Physical Regions of the United States. And you'll notice that there are a whole bunch of different colors on this map. Each of the colors on the map, as you can see from the key down here, are going to represent a different physical region, okay? Physical region of the United States. Now, let's go back to our reading, okay? Geographers divide the United States into several different physical regions with contrasting landforms. Each of these regions are going to be made up of areas with different types of landforms. The Hawaiian Islands, for example, are located in the North Pacific Ocean. You really can't see it on this map. This is the continental United States, but the Hawaiian Islands are pictured down here in this inset. The Hawaiian Islands would actually be over here if this map were extended. But the Hawaiian Islands, located in the North Pacific Ocean, consist of a chain of islands more than 1,500 miles long. The Pacific Coast region, okay, is our country's westernmost region with high mountain ranges stretching from Alaska down to Mexico. So this blue area here is the westernmost region of the country, and that is called the Pacific Coast region. To the east is the Intermountain region. This purple area here is called the Intermountain region. If you look at the key down here, the light purple is the Intermountain region of the United States. This region is made up of mountains, plateaus, canyons, and deserts. The Rocky Mountains is situated to the east of the Intermountain regions. You see the Rocky Mountains right here. The Rocky Mountains stretch from Alaska, okay, in the north, down into the western United States, and it contains some of the highest peaks in North America. If you look at the map key here, the orange shade here on the map key represents the Rocky Mountains. The interior plains, which is going to be recognized on the map by the yellow color, are rich in natural resources and fertile soil. Fertile means soil that is very, very good for growing crops. And as a result, the interior plains, a lot of the area in this yellow region here, the interior plains are among the best farmland in the country, and it's used to feed many, many hundreds of millions of Americans with crops that are grown in that yellow region of the country. The Appalachian Mountains, which is this area right here, not to be confused with the Adirondacks, but the Appalachian Mountains run from Canada in the north down to Georgia and Alabama in Mississippi. The Canadian Shield, the purple area up here, separates the United States from Canada and borders the Great Lakes region here. It's a lowland region extending from Canada into Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Very, very rich in minerals, that area as well. The coastal plains, the green area on the physical region map. The coastal plains is the easternmost region of the United States, and it's divided into two subregions. The Atlantic plain, right here, okay, which lies between the Atlantic Ocean and the Appalachian Mountains, and the Gulf plain down here, which lies along the Gulf of Mexico. So this green area here is going to be considered the coastal plains. Also included in this physical region of the United States map, we've got some of the most important and some of the larger river systems in our country. The rivers of the United States crisscross the country, linking many different physical regions. The Mississippi River, which I'm highlighting right now, the Mississippi River and the Missouri River and their tributaries, and the rivers that are smaller that feed into them, both of those rivers are the longest and most important river systems in the United States, the Mississippi and the Missouri river systems. The Great Lakes, which are up here, not to be confused with the Finger Lakes, which are the smaller lakes in the central part of New York State. But the Great Lakes, which are up here, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario, the Great Lakes form the largest freshwater supply of water in the world. Great that they're here, and we've got a way of remembering the 5 Great Lakes that we will talk about in class. So we can, we'll have a little device to help you remember the names of each of the 5 Great Lakes, HOMES. We'll talk about that more in class. Now, in a moment, we're going to talk about the climates of the United States, which are also, just like the physical regions and the rivers we just went over, the climates are also going to be extremely diverse and plentiful in the United States. Now, the United States has 10 types of climate. We're going to talk about that in the chart in just a moment. 2 features that define climate are temperature and precipitation. So 2 features that are going to define climate are temperature and precipitation. What is the temperature in a given place, and what is the precipitation like in that particular place? The location and altitude of a region also influences its climate. And as promised, let's take a look at the different climates in the United States. And as I said, we've got 10 different climate zones. And the climate zones on the chart here are pictured in the far left column. We've got marine, we've got Mediterranean, we've got highland, desert, steppe, humid continental climate zone, tropical, humid subtropical, tundra, and subarctic. And for each of the climates that we have, each of those types of climates correspond to a region of the United States. For example, let's look at the top one. The marine climate is found in South Alaska, southern Alaska, to northern California. And the characteristics of that climate are pictured in the far right column. So you can see that the marine climate in southern Alaska to northern California consists of warm summers and cool winters, and right on down the line. So each of the climate zones in the far left column can correspond to a particular region, and each region gives you the type of characteristics, the type of weather and climate that you might see in that particular region of the country. This climate chart is going to be very, very helpful in answering the second question. Now, there are 2 questions at the bottom of the worksheet. However, I am going to be asking you 3 questions, and I'd like you to answer all 3 on a Google Doc. One of the questions is not going to appear on the worksheet, so you're going to have to listen carefully, okay? First question that you will answer is going to be based on the reading, and the first question is, what are the 2 most important river systems in the United States? We discussed it in the reading above. What are the two most important river systems in the U.S.? Second question is going to be based on the chart. Which locations would be considered dry regions? Which locations or what climate zones would be considered dry regions? Okay, so in order to figure that out, you're going to have to look at the characteristics of a particular region and climate zone, and you're going to have to tell me which locations would be considered dry regions. That's question 2. Please label your questions. And the third question, again, it doesn't appear here, but I'm asking you to do this, and I'm asking you to add number 3 to your Google Doc. Based on the chart, based on this chart, tell me what climate zone we would be living in Hoosick Falls. Which of the 10 climate zones are we going to be living in, since we all live in and around Hoosick Falls? Please answer those questions on a Google Doc, number them, and share those with me before our next class. Final reminder also that your vocab terms for this section will be posted on Quizlet, and also will be linked to our class page at the end of the day today, so you can access those from Quizlet.com or from our class feed. Also, make sure you watch the tutorial videos and the supplemental videos for today's lesson that I post on the class feed as well. Lots of good stuff out there that supplement our learning today. Hope you guys had a good class, and we will see you again soon.